So are homes in Palm Springs overpriced? I'm hearing that question a lot these days. People who follow the real estate market see that there's a lot of listings, a lot of them stay on the market for quite a while. A lot of them have price reductions, sometimes multiple price reductions, and they sell for less than the asking price. So, are these homes overpriced or is there something else going on? I'm going to give you my analysis, and it's not going to be what you think. I'm not going to talk about mortgage rates, and there's a lot of things going on in Palm Springs that don't happen elsewhere. So, if you want to know from the perspective of a working real estate broker in the trenches every day, that would be me, Ellis Posner. Stay right here. Let's get into it. If you haven't been to this channel before, I just want to mention that when I say Palm Springs, I'm almost always referring to the city of Palm Springs, not the greater Palm Springs area. If I want to talk about La Quinta, Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage, or Indian Wells, I'll tell you that's what I'm talking about. So when I say Palm Springs, city of Palm Springs, where I live. And if you haven't been here before, thanks for visiting and watching this video. If you are one of my subscribers, thank you so much for your support. And if you're one of the new people, come on, subscribe. So the reason why there's so many properties on the market and people think Palm Springs homes are overpriced right now is we're in a cycle of asset rebalancing, which has brought three different categories of homeowners onto the market that wouldn't normally be selling. Some people call this inventory rebalancing, but net result is there's more homes for sale. So you have one group, which is what I call the speculative pandemic era buyers, people who bought in 2020 or 2021, thinking they might do a little bit of improvements, maybe rent it out for a while, flip it for a profit. And then by 2022, and I'm doing this video in 2025, by 2022, as the market started to cool, they started to see that, this is not what we thought it was going to be. Let's try to get rid of this property. So that's the first group of sellers that have added a lot more to the inventory. Again, they bought it speculatively in a whole different time. Prices were probably lower if they bought it early in 2020, and certainly even through most of 2021, and they're dumping those homes on the market now. Now, the next thing, the second category of current sellers is you have a lot of people who bought homes for short-term rental, Airbnb, VRBO, Verbo, and the rules then changed in Palm Springs in 2022. Now, if you had a permit before the rules changed, you were grandfathered. And I speak a lot about the short-term rentals in Palm Springs on other videos on this channel, and I'm even going to be doing a lot more about that. So if you're interested in that, either contact me directly or stay tuned here for more videos. But when the rules changed, each neighborhood could only have 20% of the homes in that neighborhood allowed to have short-term rental permits. Some of the neighborhoods where you had people grandfathered already were over the max. So where you have neighborhoods where the homes are already over the max in allowable permits and people are trying to sell, and maybe some of those people who want to buy were thinking of using the property for short-term rental, well, it's not available. So then you see in those neighborhoods, I'm going to show you a couple, the prices start plummeting and the inventory goes up, and then other people have to lower their prices, even if they're in neighborhoods where you can get a short-term rental. One last comment about short-term rental. It didn't cash flow and monetize for a lot of people. If you're buying a home in Palm Springs and you're going to use it yourself and you want to rent it out when you're not there, and if you can get a permit, might make sense. You might make money on it, cover a lot of your costs. But I think for these days, particularly if you're getting your mortgage, if you're just doing it to try to make money on it, my professional opinion is don't, but it's different for everyone in every case. And then the last category is all the people who bought in Palm Springs thinking they were going to be able to work from home forever. And as you know from the news, a lot of companies have pulled their people back, and work from home just isn't a thing like it was in 2020 and 2021 by the time we got to 2025. Hi, I'm Ellis Posner. I'm a real estate broker in Palm Springs, California, and I've been selling real estate in Southern California for multiple decades. I've worked with hundreds of buyers and sellers in all price ranges during all kind of market conditions, and I want to work with you too when the time is right. Now, one thing that makes Palm Springs real estate different than any other market in the U.S. is that a lot of the people buying homes here for second homes, vacation homes, or even full-time residences may not live locally. But I'm local and I can go out and preview properties for you. I can do walkthrough videos. I can put you in touch with all the resources you need for a successful and smooth transaction. So when the time is right, feel free to reach out. My contact info is all over the channel. It's in the description, it's in the comments. I'm easy to get a hold of and very available to help you. Now, hang around till the end of the video because I'm also going to be sharing with you some tips about how you can save money on closing costs when I'm your agent. All right, so let's go through those three categories again, what I'm calling the asset rebalancing. People might call it inventory rebalancing, but to start with, you had people who bought during the pandemic era, speculative, just trying to cash in and make a bunch of money when the real estate prices in Palm Springs were just going boom, straight up. Secondly, you had people who bought who thought they were going to make a lot of money on short-term rental. The rules changed, the world changed, and they found maybe it wasn't as lucrative as they thought it was going to be, and some of those people have flooded the market. Now, there are people who bought speculatively to do short-term rentals, and, I made it into two categories, but sometimes they blend into one. And lastly, a lot of people bought thinking, wow, this is great. I can live out here in the desert, these gorgeous mountains here, and enjoy this lifestyle and work from home. And then, whoops, the companies asked them to come back into the office. And when you have that many people putting homes on the market at the same time, you're going to see what we're seeing now. Now, I haven't mentioned mortgage rates, which all the agents are talking about. And maybe in other markets, that's an issue. A lot of the purchases in Palm Springs are cash. And that's because a lot of people are buying second or third homes or vacation homes, and they're paying cash. So the mortgage rates are less of a factor. There are other factors, and I'm going to get into those next. Another factor is that a lot of the properties, in addition to being just straight out overpriced, are not that desirable. Anything that's mid-century over here in Vista Las Palmas, my shirt, anything architectural, people want that Palm Springs vibe. If you're trying to sell a house that looked like it should have been on that 70s show, which I've never watched, but what I imagine would be on that 70s show, those are tough sells in Palm Springs. People want mid-century modern. They want desert modern. They want the vibe. They want the feel. They want that special environment. And if you don't have that, a lot of houses don't. Or if you have one that was an original Alexander and you updated it with Spanish tile floors, which don't fit, you should have put terrazzo or some other kind of stone, then that's going to be a tough sell. And if you overprice it, it's going to be even harder. And buyers these days are very, very sophisticated. So are homes in Palm Springs overpriced? Well, when people ask me that, I always say, compared to what? I mean, compared to 10 years ago in 2015, yeah, the prices are way up because Palm Springs has been just a great investment. They overpriced compared to West Side LA. I think you get a lot more for your money here. And whether you're buying something in Vista Las Palmas here or Old Las Palmas, or you're buying an entry-level condo. So, no, I don't think that's overpriced, compared to Newport Beach or San Diego. You just get a lot more for your money here, like I said. But there are properties for sure that are overpriced. Is the market overpriced? I don't believe so. Or individual properties overpriced 100%. There are some. And those are the not desirable ones, like I mentioned. Here's one of my favorite properties. Check that out. Have you seen my video on the House of Tomorrow, aka Elvis Honeymoon Hideaway, the most Instagrammable spot in Palm Springs? I'll put a link up here to it. Anyway, so if you're buying in Palm Springs, you really need to know what you're buying and what the value is and why that's the value. And the best way to determine that is by working with an experienced agent like myself. And if you're thinking of selling, now you might be surprised to hear this. I don't know if this is the best market to sell in. If you have to sell, yeah, go for it. But there's going to be times when I've told people, I've told some of my clients, some of my neighbors, don't sell now. If you can wait until things are a little bit better and the climate's a little better. All right, I want to head back to the office, and I want to show you some data and some reports that you could register to use totally for free. I'm sorry, you don't need to register to use them. They're totally free reports. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and hang around to the end of the video. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about how commissions are working right now and how you can save some money, particularly if I'm your agent. All right, let's keep driving. So that house I was just driving past, no, that's not my house. I wish it was. That's the Kaufman residence, one of the most famous and significant architectural properties in Palm Springs. Cover it some other time on this channel when I'm doing my home tours or the most expensive homes ever sold or the most architecturally significant. But right now we're going to talk about Palm Springs market reports, actually the Altos market reports. And what you're going to see from the data is that a lot of what I've been saying it's pretty damn accurate based on the facts and the trends. And we're going to look back over 5 years. Now, I'm going to put a link to this report in the description and in the comments. You can go to it and check it out anytime. You can even subscribe to it, but you don't have to. You got that little button over there. And this report is not only interactive, it updates every day. So this is for April 8th, 2025, and I should be posting this video later this week, but you go to this report anytime, May 15th, July 4th, whenever you want, any year, and it will have accurate data for that time. So let me explain what's going on here. When you first land on this report, you're going to see a couple of things right off the bat. And I'm going to put a link to it in the description and in the comments. It does not require you to register or anything, even though you can subscribe, which is different than subscribing to my channel. Your choice if you want to do either one, but I like when people subscribe to my channel. You'll see what they call the Market Action Index. This says that as far as houses go in Palm Springs right now, as of Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, it's a slight buyer's advantage. Now, I would say that buyer's advantage is more than slight, but that's just me. They're going on their metrics, I'm going on mine. And this is for houses, single-family residences. It does not differentiate between leased land and fee land in Palm Springs. This is for condos. Remember that condos in California includes condos and townhomes. They're all zoned as condos. Let's go back to houses. And other than the Market Action Index graphic, you see over to the right here a number of different reports, and we're going to scroll down. Like right now, it says the median list price is $1,136,250, but the median price of new listings is $1,150,000. Well, what that tells me is that even though there's a lot of inventory, and this is showing a slight buyer's advantage, that sellers think they can get more and raise the prices, even though, again, the data doesn't support that. Because you see, 52% of the houses on the market right now in Palm Springs have had the prices decreased. 3% increase, I don't know what they're thinking. A lot of them expired and relisted. And there's 494 single-family houses for sale right now. As far as condos, they're 359, so we're into the 800s. And here's a hint, like there's not that many houses sold every month, so that's a lot of inventory. Let's look at some of these reports next. So as we come down on the page, you'll see that there's a number of reports in this pull-down menu, and those mirror the reports that are further up here. That data, that just summarizes it over here. Here you can see this is interactive, and you can go back, and we're going to do that. Let's take the median list price and let's go back 5 years to April of 2020. And you see during this time period, the list price is going up, kind of peaking in April of 2022. And then, as you know, mortgage rates start going up and up and up, and wound up doubling. Now, I did say that in Palm Springs, the mortgage interest rates are not as indicative of the overall market as they are in other places because of the number of cash sales. But as you see here, we are going down, 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 down. So where we are now is the 7-day average and the 90-day average, between 1.1 million, 1.2, which brings us back to where we were in December of 2021. It's probably the height of the pandemic era market. And I said a lot of people bought during this period speculating that it was going to go up to there, and it did go up to there. And then it came down. So let's see how that's reflected in some other data. Let's look at the average days on market. Well, here, the average days on market, kind of like when we're into December there, they still declined. Now here, average days on market means it's more of a seller's market than now. Here, the average days on market has peaked up to, 125 and 121 for single family houses. That takes us kind of back to where we were in September of 2020. And that was really before the totally crazy, height of the pandemic era buying, when I said a lot of people bought speculatively. Let's look at another report. How about properties with price decrease? Well, price decrease means the seller cut the price because it wasn't selling. And here, right after the lockdown, price decreases going down, 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 down through July of 2021. They came up, went down. Well, now look at this amount of properties with the price decreases. It's come down a little bit because sellers are catching on. But, a lot of sellers are overestimating what the houses are worth. And that's why people are then saying, well, these are overpriced. Sure, if you're a consumer, you're a buyer, and you're looking at all these properties on the market, and they're all getting price cuts and are on the market for 3 or 4 months, and they're selling for less, you're going to say, well, this is overpriced. Now, does that mean any individual property is overpriced? Does that mean the market is overpriced? No. It means that the general sentiment is sellers are too optimistic, and agents always want listings, so they're just going along with it, and it's kind of indicative in these numbers here. I want to show you something else you could do. You can look at the different market segments, because what you'll see, this just divides it up into price points, and let's see, certain price points move differently. And that's why I say this report is interactive. I think it's best viewed on a full browser. You may not be watching this video on a full browser. You may be watching it on a TV. A lot of people watch my videos on TVs, apparently, or you may be watching it on your phone. But head over to your computer and check out this report. It's price decreases, inventory. Let's look at the inventory. Let's take the market segments out for a second. And inventory is going way, 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 way up. So, as I said in the beginning of the video, there's a lot of properties on the market. Look at this inventory. It's not been this high in 5 years that we're tracking it here. Where we started, this is a healthy number. It did go down, which when it goes down, then you get prices go up, and comes up here, comes up, and dips a little bit in October. Oh, mortgage rates went down a little bit there, and then it goes way high here. So you have over 400 single-family residences. Let's see if we go over to condos. It should be the same number I said before. The inventory, just same kind of thing. So the data supports all these trend lines I've been talking about. And It's important to know this whether you're a buyer or seller, because while each property is going to perform differently, overall it's like that old saying, a rising tide, you know, all ships raises all ships. I mean, tides come in, tides come out in real estate as well. And right now, you just have to be realistic if you're a seller. And if you're a buyer, you can get a great deal, particularly if I'm your agent. And this Altos report does not include actual sold. I wonder why they do that. So I'm going to dive into that data on my own separately. Let's jump over to that. So now I've jumped over to the multiple listing service, the MLS. This is what agents use behind the scenes. So before the listings ever get to Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com, this is what we use behind the scenes. Well, before the listings ever get to my website, PalmSpringsHousehold.com. And we're going to do some searches, and I'm going to look at, let's look at 2020. Let's look at 2021, because 2020 was a partial year and the numbers are kind of skewed because of COVID. So we're going to do 1/1/2020 through 12/31. Well, I meant to do 2021. Let's go back there. This is what happens when you just do this stuff live with no script or preparation. We're going to do Palm Springs, and we're going to see how many closed. Yeah, so 2,390 closed sales. And let's look price-wise. Well, that's a rental. It shouldn't be in there. It's probably a rental. Oh no, maybe that's a mobile home. But a lot of closed sales, 2,390, and 8,500,000 was the most expensive, and that that went twice. Let's say 2,388 or something. There's a couple in here that shouldn't be in here. Nice. Even then, it was on the market for 80 days. All right, let's look at another year. So it was 2,390. Let's look at 2022. $1,826. Oh, here's it's the Kaufman residence I was driving past. I said 13 million. Yeah, you saw me standing outside of that in the beginning of this video, and then I was driving past before I segued to this section. Very famous scene, that poolside gossip where the people are there. Okay, but we see the overall sales have come down like 500 units. And I'm going to recap this at the end. I'll just do a graphic. 2023. Now sales are down to 1,468. Top sale was 7,700,000. In Old Las Palmas. I don't know why that's not a surprise. Bottom sale was 159. Let's look to 2024. 1,481. So we see in just that time period, we're going from, we're down like 600-700 units a month, and the inventory is up. I think that should kind of explain it. So Palm Springs homes overpriced? Some are, some aren't. You have to know the difference, and I can help you with that. And while we're doing screen capture, I want to just show you what I was talking about the short-term rental permits and which areas are maxed out. All the ones in red are maxed out. Desert Park Estates, El Nudo, Rancho Vista Estates, Gene Autry, Lawrence Crosley, Movie Colony East. Let's see, Racket Club Estates, Ranch Club Estates, Sunmore. And you see some of the penetrations here. Now remember, you can only have up to 20% in any neighborhood, 26%, 19%, 37%, 19, I guess that's close enough to 20, they're rounding up. And so the people trying to sell in those neighborhoods to someone that may want to do short-term rental, this is the actual data of why people aren't buying those. Now there's some neighborhoods that are you don't have the penetration, even though some are getting close. 16, 15, Twin Palms, one of my favorite neighborhoods. There's a good tour of some houses there on this channel. The Movie Colony, highly desirable. The Mesa, Tackage River Estates. So those, could be hitting that pretty soon. Oh, Vista Las Palmas, my favorite neighborhood in the world. They're they're almost there with the number of permits. Vista Las Palmas, for example, 397 residential units. I always say there's 330 single-family houses, but what do I know? A lot. And, you see people on the wait list. There's a lot of people on wait lists, I guess. Now, you could say, how do I know what neighborhood? So let's go back over here, the 1PS map. And this is going to show you the neighborhoods. So if you're not familiar with if you're not familiar with the neighborhoods in Palm Springs, this is going to show you that. So you can see. So if you're thinking of buying a house, the best thing is really check with the city, and if you're thinking of going for a short-term rental permit. But all these factors that I laid out in the intro of this video, these are real things. You've got, again, to recap it, you've got asset or inventory rebalancing. You have too many houses on the market. You have a lot of people who maybe bought to speculate. You have people who found out that doing short-term rentals is not quite as lucrative as they may have thought. You have people saying, I want to pull my money out of this and put it into gold or crypto or who knows what. And that's where we're at in Palm Springs. And I've got one more thing to speak to you about, which is what is going on with real estate commissions. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about real estate commissions. The questions I'm getting relate to the new rules for real estate that went into effect in August of 2024. And buyers are asking me, hey, if I buy a home in Palm Springs, do I have to pay the real estate commission? Sellers are asking me, when I sell my home in Palm Springs, do I have to pay the buyer's agent? And everyone seems a little bit confused, and a large part of that is what you've seen and read in the media. I'm not going to get into bashing the media. It's just that real estate is a very complicated topic. I'm going to make it simple for you. For over 100 years, when you were selling a home in California and most of the U.S., the seller would agree to pay a certain commission. It may have been 5 or 6% or whatever the going rate was at the time, and your listing agent, which is really the listing broker, would agree to pay a certain percentage of that to the agent representing the buyer. That was called cooperation. That's what you saw in the multiple listing services. So agents representing buyers never had to think about whether they were going to get paid or not, because that offer of compensation was made. One of the problems with it, it was a unilateral offer of compensation. Your home was listed for X, someone brought you an offer for Y. Maybe it was a lot lower than you were thinking, and you would still have to pay that same level of compensation. People decided this wasn't exactly fair, and so we moved to the new system, which went into effect in August of 2024. But if you have questions, you can put them in the comments, and here's my contact info. You can also call or text me, and if you like what you're hearing here, just remember also subscribe.